Okay, I will give you a presentation on expense management. So maybe as the first point, I will explain you what expense management is, and we'll give you a short background. So expense management is the application that allows to register the expenses during the travel. What is quite important is that it allows to do it using the mobile app on the phone. We will come to that. The expenses registered by person traveling can be managed by finance department in Business Central, exactly using the same interface and the same way of working as in all the other areas of the system. So that's exactly the same solution as Business Central. In expense management, we can define three roles. There's expense user, that is creating expenses in the system or registering mileage. Approver, that can approve those documents, review and approve. And finally, bookkeeper, that will post those documents in the system. From the architecture point of view, expense user can use the expense app on the smartphone or the web expense portal to create expenses. What is important, that can be done even without having any internet access, and then expenses will be synchronized with Business Central when the internet access is available. Expense documents are synchronized with Business Central, and then the finance team can review those documents and post. If needed, approver can, before finance processes the documents, approver can approve, review and approve the documents. For that purpose, approver can use either Business Central client, web approval application on the mobile phone, or the web approval portal using his computer. As I mentioned, from expense user perspective, the app is installed on the smartphone. That's one of the ways, and I believe that's the easiest way to manage the expenses, to register the expenses. It can be done in a very simple way, very fast. I will show it in a moment, in a few seconds. It's enough to just download the app on the smartphone and start using the application. Using the application on the smartphone, expense user can see the status of the expenses created in the system and can see when the expenses are reimbursed by finance. From finance team perspective, this solution ensures that the posting will be done using correct GL accounts that are defined in the setup, predefined setup in the system. The whole solution, as I mentioned, is fully integrated with Business Central, so that's the same interface, the same user interface, the same way of working, which is the big advantage, I would say. Also, the whole solution is quite flexible and can be customized without touching any code. And finally, we get rid of all the papers, receipts used in the system. We do it all electronically in this app. So now, let me go through a short demo. Okay, this is expense app on a smartphone that can be used by expense user to register new expenses, millages, and per diems. Let's now go through the process where I will create new documents and process them. For the purpose of our presentation, I will create new settlement. And basically, settlement can be seen as a group of documents from one business travel. So I'll go this way. I will create new settlement. I will call it as travel to London. And for that settlement, I'll register two expenses. So the settlement is now created. And now for that settlement, I can add new expense in here. So I'm going to add new expense. For that expense, I need to specify an amount of the expense. In my case, that will be beverages for 5.41. For that expense, I can attach a picture of the receipt. That can be done either using the camera in a smartphone. I can also pick a picture already stored in the device. For this presentation, I will just pick the picture that I already have in that device. So I will just pick one of them. That's our cash expense for beverages. Then I need to specify the expense type. In this case, it will be food. I should define, in my case, department. That will be sales. A description. So that's beverages. Actually, the list of fields, the information that should be stored when creating new expense, that's something that can be set up as the part of the project. So we are free to define more fields than that. For our presentation, I'll just define those few. Additionally, if expense is related to more types than one, we can use allocation lines to specify what part of the amount is related to each cost type. In this case, that's just receipt for food, so I will leave it like it is, and I will save it. Now we can see that our settlement is related to the cost of 5.41 British pounds. I will register second expense. That will be accommodation for this amount. And again, I will use a picture stored in the device to attach it to the expense. In this case, that will be accommodation. Expense type should be chosen. Description, let me define it as hotel in London. And again, I will define department. That's it. I can save it now. As simple as that. Now the whole settlement is related to this cost of 1,600 British pounds. When I'm done, when I have all the documents registered that I need to have, I can simply submit the settlement. Yes, I would like to submit it. And now settlement can be still found in the history, but basically it is also at the same time sent to the Business Central. Let's see how it looks in Business Central. This is the web client of Business Central. Actually, the data is synchronized periodically. For the purpose of this presentation, I will synchronize it manually. So I will do it right now. As you can see now, we have one settlement that is pending approval. Let's see how it looks from the system perspective. This is our settlement. So we have all the information defined in the mobile app. We have them also here. That's the descriptions I defined and also the picture related to the expense. So this is my receipt. In this case, expense is waiting for approval, it's pending approval. So let's see how this can be approved. I will approve that settlement using the web approval portal. As I mentioned earlier, that can be either the web approval portal or Business Central or mobile app that can be used for approving. I will do it via web approval portal. Let me refresh the page. So now I behave as approver user. So I should find it in settlements. Here it is. So that's the total amount. I can open it and see all the details. So also here in the web approval portal, I can see the document. So all the details for both documents. The document from this level can be approved, can be rejected or forwarded. So I will simply approve the document. After I approve the document, I don't have anything more to be approved on my list. So now let's switch again to Business Central to see how it looks here. I'll refresh it. Now we can see we have one settlement waiting to be posted. So as a finance team member, now I can see that the expense, that the settlement, actually the whole settlement was approved and released and is waiting to be posted. I can open it to double check the details. And finally, I can post it. A system will recognize the accounts that will be used during posting thanks to the expense types chosen by the expense user when they were registering the expenses via the mobile app. And actually, this is where the whole process finishes.